Good afternoon. Welcome to Who's Tom and Dick? With your hosts, Martin Weavers and Patrick Mortimer. Good afternoon, Martin. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
This is different. I'm all excited.
You're sitting comfortable, aren't you?
I know. I get excited when we do things in the studios, but sitting in your car.
Yeah, I know. This is modern technology for you.
Yeah. Where are we heading?
We're heading to BBC Radio Essex in Chelmsford.
Right.
For an interview on the show live.
Yeah, I know
hopefully.
we are. I know we are.
Hopefully.
Yeah. With Ben Fryer, isn't it?
Ben Fryer, yeah.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd try a podcast recording in the car while we're going.
That's right. Look at that. We're driving right past Weaver's Tap.
Yeah.
I wish I owned it.
Which is a public house, by the way.
Yes, it is.
For those that don't know. Yeah, so as a bright sunny morning.
Mm-hmm. We shouldn't have any interruptions with the sat-nav. We've just
turned it off.
Yeah, but you might hear some panting in the back of the car.
Yeah.
That's because we've got Benny with us. He won't bark or interrupt us. Aye. You might have some background interference and noise.
You can hear a few sound effects. We've got the windows open because the air conditioner is low because it creates a fan noise and you wouldn't be able to hear us, which might be an advantage in a way.
Well, that's right.
But we're also trying out some modern technology.
Yeah.
We've got these radio mics for the first time. So we haven't got a clue whether we're really recording or not.
No. And we can, if we're recording and it works, we can drive to your house.
So this is what they call it, carpool karaoke?
Cardiac karaoke.
This is cardiac karaoke.
Cardiac.
That's a good one. I hadn't thought of that one. Well done.
I hope you've got some topics to chat about.
No, I didn't bring any chocolates.
I can tell you all about, I've changed my doctor now.
Have you?
Yeah, the rigmarole you have to go through.
Right.
I suppose everybody has to do it in every country.
Yeah.
But I had to go there. Normal appointment, you're in and out of a doctor's. I was there for 45 minutes.
Did you speak to them about your meds?
Yeah, every single medication that I'm on, I'm taking, but they got the wrong Symbicort inhaler. Apparently there's a couple and they don't stock the one that I have, so they'll have to order the one that I have in, especially for me. The trouble is when you use something all the time, and I've used it for several years now, the Symbicort that I use, I don't want to change, you know?
No.
And you get into old habits. But,
as well, because I mean, I'm sure it's the same drug, but you just want to sort of don't want to mess around with things that work, do you?
Well, that's right. It came in a packet, and I had to open the packet like a packet of sweets, packet of crisps kind of thing.
Right.
And then inside is my inhaler, but it's the one where you comes out, whereas the one I've got, it's a twist inhaler.
Yeah.
And I have it that way. Yeah.
Right.
Don't you get anxious when you change over your new meds?
I don't really change them. I think they have changed some of them at times without me really knowing. They've come in different packets and I've just taken them.
Right.
Not really take much notice of them, to be honest with you. Anyway, I was listening to the radio the other day and good old Esther Rantzen was on. You know Esther Rantzen?
Yes, I do, yeah.
She's a British celebrity.
Yeah.
Well-known celebrity. And she's got, has she got stage 4?
Lung cancer,
hasn't she?
Yeah, yeah. Not forgetting there's various lung cancers, though.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, it's not the same as your lung cancer, but nevertheless, that's still a lung cancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they have literally not found a drug that's working for her. And they've given her, I think, about 9 months to live. Something like that, 9 to 12 months. And she's now investigating, going over to Switzerland, to Dignitas, for assisted euthanasia, is it called?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Obviously, it's illegal in this country it's not illegal to commit suicide. Did you realise that?
No.
Or attempt to commit suicide. That's not illegal.
Right.
But if you help someone do it, then you're assisting it.
Yeah.
You could be put in prison for life.
Yeah.
Because it could be considered as manslaughter or murder.
Yeah.
As quite an interesting subject, a bit morbid, I must admit. You know, when you think of some of the animals that are put down to save their suffering.
Yeah.
Esther is obviously going to get to a stage in her life where her existence is really that, just an existence.
Yeah.
With pain and suffering controlled by medication. So don't you think she has the right to say enough is enough?
I think a human, should be able to. I mean, I was given this diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer. I can't remember if it was before I was given this diagnosis, I remember talking to Linny about this, not about assisted suicide, but treatment for cancer. Is it a waste of time having all this treatment, knowing that you're going to, sadly pass away? And I was adamant that I was not going to have any treatment if I'd only got 3 months to live.
Right.
Because I was thinking, it's a waste of government and NHS funds. When I was given that little glimmer, it suddenly sparked my, brain. So I wasn't giving up life. I was just giving up treatment.
Yeah.
I thought, not to have any. I don't think I'd go over to Switzerland and, do anything, but certainly it's a thing that I thought of not having treatment, for my cancer. So,
it's a difficult question, really, isn't it?
Because, what about you? Would you?
I wouldn't want to live a life where I was just basically sitting there having everything done for me.
Mm.
I wouldn't want to be a burden on the family, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I want some sort of quality of life. I don't know when you get to that sort of stage whether you change your mind. So, when you think about it, you were diagnosed in January 2022, I think. And it wasn't until last August, September, which was 23, which was almost a year and 3 or 4 months later, that you found this new drug.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So if you'd have said at the point of diagnosis, now I'm on treatment, you probably wouldn't be here, for one.
Yeah.
And two, this drug would have come out and basically changed your life to a certain extent, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. And people should think that, one day, if you are suffering from cancer, that there will be a treatment for you. I didn't realise that the one that I was going to use would clear my lung. It's as I've said before, I'm never going to be free of cancer. It's the kind of thing that I can certainly reduce and control it. It all messes with the mind, doesn't it? I think.
So, is this a trial drug that you're on, or is it an adopted drug?
The NHS used it obviously as a trial drug, and they decided to go ahead with it. So, what
I can't get my head around is when you've got a patient who is living on a life support machine that's doing the work for them to a certain extent, or to the main extent, I suppose, and then you get an option to switch it off. Isn't that the same thing?
No, it's not. No, it's not the same as assisted dying, I don't think. But you've certainly hit the nail on the head that when you said that you wouldn't want that quality of life, well, this has happened to me, hasn't it? Because when I had to turn my mum's machine off, my brother and I were asked by the doctor, and we said, what kind of quality of life will she have afterwards? And he said she would have to be helped for everything in the future. We both said, Mum would never, ever want that. I think we made the right decision by turning the machine off. And the decision was made with the doctor as well. We said to him, what would you do in this situation if this was your mother? And he said, I'd turn the machine off. So I don't think it's assisted suicide by turning it off.
No, but still somebody has to make a decision.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because, your mum had no part of that decision, did she?
No.
Although you know what her thought process was.
Yeah.
But she never had she couldn't say, no, don't turn it off or turn it off.
No.
Whereas in assisted dying, i.e. in dignitas, it's actually the patient that makes the choice.
Is there not a thing where they have to sign to say that they're of stable mind and all that?
Well, yeah, you do. That's a real fine line between the two, isn't it, really?
There is, yeah.
Because your mum weren't dead at that point.
No.
And somebody had to make a choice.
Well, she was sort of brain dead, I suppose. The brain wasn't, although no, because the brain was functioning but through a machine.
Right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
but you can see how complicated and tricky this subject is.
Oh, God. You'd think that it would last for years, that someone could say, I want to do it, and all the court cases and everything, and, it wouldn't be an instant thing, would it?
Well, you hear these cases where people are on these life support machines and the family, refuses to turn the machine off because they think there's hope, and suddenly the doctors are wrong and something's going to change.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that sort of feeling?
I did. Oh, God, yeah. Because I still feel it's
because, she's laying there. It doesn't look any different, really, I suppose.
No, that's right.
Laying there peaceful.
Oh, yeah.
And you think, well, how can she be dead?
Mum was still warm. I held her hand right to the very end. And you hear of people going cold and all things like that, but obviously the blood was still pumping through her body. But it was just, I know, the hardest choice I've ever had to make in my life. And it's a thing that sometimes you think of as well.
Right.
Have I made the right decision? That's certainly a thing that goes through my mind. And then I keep thinking, no, you fool. You spoke to a professional, a doctor, and he advised you as well.
Yeah.
That then thinks, shut up, Weavers, you're barking up the wrong tree there.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a thing I'll always have to live with.
But an individual can go to Switzerland and to Dignitas and have assisted dying there, but they're not really supposed to take any family members, or I don't believe.
Oh, aren't they?
Because they are assisting the assisted dying.
Oh, right.
So therefore, when they come back to the UK, they could be charged with assisted murder.
Yeah.
Or
manslaughter.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it makes it even more difficult for somebody to go to abroad. So, I mean, if there is facilities...
But if could they fly?
Well...
Would they get insurance?
Would they need it? They ain't coming back, are they? What would they get insurance for? Explain it. Just in case they broke a leg falling down the stairs.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I didn't think of that.
No. Yeah, interesting one. But, yeah, I mean, it makes it... The person has got to be fairly physically fit to be able to do it their own.
Yeah.
Having said all that, if there's facilities abroad, shouldn't there be facilities here? So people can make that choice.
In every country.
In every country, yeah.
Why is it Switzerland, you say?
Yeah.
Switzerland, I mean, that's been going on for quite a while as well there, hasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, we do look at our animals and decide on their life, whether they should live or die.
Yeah.
Depending on their pain.
Yes.
I mean, obviously you wouldn't put...
Don't listen, Benny.
No. Obviously you wouldn't put an animal down if it had a reasonable chance of having a decent life.
No.
But there's so many put down because they're... some of them get cancer, for argument's sake, and they put them down, don't they?
Or not wanted. They find them, don't they?
Yeah.
And they have to put them down. So, whereas if a bloke was walking along the street, you wouldn't send him to Switzerland, would you?
No. I'm sure it could be very easily controlled. Loads of paperwork and interviews and hoops you've got to jump through before you finally get approved.
Yeah.
But so it could be controlled so that obviously, it gives people chance to change their mind before it actually happens.
Yeah.
As they deteriorate, because they might want to, push on. Because when you got, things like you got your wife and your grandchildren and your children, you've got to think and take their feelings into consideration, haven't they?
Yeah, you have, because at the end of the day, all those people don't see you suffer. I mean, my wife is the only one that's seen me suffer because, I do hide a lot what I go through. I don't make a lot of things public. I mean, it's ages before I told anyone. Yeah, that it's a lot for that person who's with that loved one. To be with them through it all. We was talking last night and I said to Lenny, I said, I'll never leave you. I said, you look after me. And she said, well, first of all, no one else will have you. No, it does give you a different sort of bond and all that. And talking about all this, we just drive past the crematorium.
Cheerful old boy. Yeah. No, it's difficult because, I mean, obviously when people commit suicide, they're obviously at a very low ebb.
Mm.
I mean, when you went through August last year, you were probably at your lowest you've ever been in your whole life.
Cool, yeah.
Did you ever put your head on the pillow and shut your eyes and think to yourself, I hope I don't wake up in the morning?
I didn't actually think I don't want to wake up in the morning, but there was one with that one weekend where even the cleaner was surprised to see me on the Monday. And I remember her coming into the room and I didn't want anybody around me. And the doctors came in and they said, no, or the nurses and all that said, don't bother cleaning the room today. I just said, I don't want to see anybody. And that was my lowest point. I didn't even want to see Lenny. I said, I don't want any phone calls. Bless her. I mean, she rang 3 times And she said, well, if he wants to speak to me, as if I didn't want to speak. But do you know what? That I couldn't. I know that sounds daft, but that weekend, I just couldn't speak to anybody.
Yeah.
Didn't have the TV on in my room, nothing. And I slept the whole day. I slept and slept and slept, and I kept waking up, turning over, going back to sleep. I still didn't want the TV on. And then I suddenly remember about 6 o'clock, as if I'd come round from something.
Right.
It was like a dream, really. And I suddenly came round, and I thought, I said, and I thought, I've got to ring Linny. So I rang Linny and she was so pleased I rang after not being able to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the lowest point in my life. But I never thought, I want to die.
No.
And if I had to think about it, it would be I want to live.
Yeah.
So especially for me, my children and my friends and my wife,
It's a tough old time.
It was, yeah, it was a tough old time, and I think back to it now and again, and then I try to go off. I try to not think about it.
Yeah.
Because there's certain little things that every time, because I was ill quite a few times, weren't I, before I was in that big time.
Yeah.
And every little shiver I get now, I think, one of the times I went in, I was fine. I got up out of bed, started to walk towards the loo, and then suddenly I stood there and I just went into a shiver.
Right.
Perfectly fine 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then every time I get a little shiver now, like that, or whatever, I think, oh God, please no.
And the trouble is, as time passes, although that was 8 weeks or more that you were in hospital, you tend to forget it.
Yeah.
And you carry on living your life as you are now, don't you?
Yeah.
And taking it for granted again.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to take everything for granted.
Yeah.
I know I do. I wake up in the mornings, I think, I'm alive again today.
Yeah.
And you think everything is going to be rosy, and of course it's not in some cases.
No, I do the same. I look out my window every morning and, think how nice it is to be alive. I'm not one of these misogs, or anything like that who just goes around, moping. But I like to keep cheerful, and even going through all that lot, I tried to be, cheerful. But it was hard, I got to admit. But because you've not been in, apart from your heart attacks, you've not had to be in for a long time at all through, in hospital with all.
No, luckily with mine, I've sort of the convalescent has been at home.
Yeah,
you go in with a heart attack and they treat you and they let you out as soon as they feel fit, which is normally, can be anything from 4 or 5 days to a couple of weeks, depending on, how busy they are and how quickly they can get you in for treatment.
Yeah.
Into the operating theatre.
Well, look how quick they did operate on you, It's amazing.
Well, it's the same day, basically.
Yeah.
I was lucky on both occasions with mine. I didn't have to sit around waiting to be operated upon.
No.
The first time I had my heart attack, I went in on the Tuesday evening and woke up on the Wednesday, and they said, we're going to try and get you over to Papworth. I was over at West Suffolk for some stents.
Yeah.
But they said it would be probably Tuesday. Well, this was on the Wednesday. So I was going to have to wait till next Tuesday. But lucky for me and unlucky for the patient opposite, he was due to go over to have a bypass operation, but he'd caught a chill.
Oh, right.
So they weren't going to take him. So they phoned Papworth and said, could I go in his place?
Yeah.
Which I did.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, it would have been a longer, drawn-out scenario for me.
Yes, that's right.
And the silly thing is, on the Saturday, I had a party arranged for our 25th wedding anniversary.
Ah.
So Wednesday morning here, I laid in hospital. Saturday afternoon, I was at Newmarket Races for a party for our wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Under strict supervision from Wendy. And as I said, there's plenty of St John's ambulance crew around.
Yeah, that's true.
Should anything happen. But I just took things easy and Yeah. So, but I did keep pestering the doctor as he come round. Do you reckon I'll better get home, for this party? Because it's been organised for a long time.
Yeah.
He said, well, you won't worry about your party. Your health is more important. He said, but we'll see how you get on. Luckily enough, with a positive attitude, I just pushed forward, and every time he came round, I was very positive, and eventually he said, yeah, we'll send you home this afternoon, which was Friday.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because when I was in the hospital, one of my times, I had a goal to get out of, and that was when I was on that programme Eggheads on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And I had the goal. I said to Dr. Patterson, I said, there's I've auditioned for a TV programme and got on it. I said, I need to be out of hospital for next week. He said, well, we'll see how you are, because obviously he wouldn't have let me out if I wasn't right.
No.
And each day I was asking him for all my results so I knew what they were. And luck would have it, I got out the day before, going up to record.
So what are we saying about assisted dying? Are we saying that should be allowed in this country?
I don't think it ought to be. No, I think we ought to just go down the natural route of our life. We're here on Earth. I mean, I'm not preaching now, and this isn't religious or nothing like that. We're here on Earth, and we're given a certain lifetime, and we will, die from everybody, because everybody's going to die. I don't want to upset anybody over that. But everybody's going to die. We're all going to die at certain different times of our lives, sometimes unexpected, sometimes in a motor accident or in long illness. So you don't know. So, I think that unknowing of when that happens is enough.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ought to do it in England.
Right.
What about you? Do you think we ought to?
I'm sort of mixed, really. I think that people should be respected. And people should have a choice. The choice shouldn't be made for them, but it needs to be regulated and managed in a very detailed way, shall I say?
Oh, God,
so that people can get the chance to change their minds, and if they want an assisted death,
yes,
because they've got a terminal illness and they're in a lot of pain, they've got no real life, then they should be able to make that choice with the family. I don't think that's something you can make on your own. The family, would find it hard to agree with that, I reckon.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I still think that choice should be available to individuals.
Yes. Well, yeah, if you think that's, yes.
But that's just me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I was going to say, yes, if you think that's your opinion, no one should change it,
No, and when you live a fairly active life and suddenly you can't do that anymore, that's an awful lot taken away from you. Isn't it? And how people cope. I mean, some people are really strong and they can cope with it.
I can't do a lot of the things that I used to do,
Yeah.
But
you have to find other things, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, doing this podcast is brilliant. I'll never forget when you said doing it, and we didn't know what to do, but it was a good thought, and I'm glad we have done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do find other interests. I still get very, very, very frustrated knowing I can't do what I wanted, because I love my football on the line and, refereeing. I'd love to just be able to referee, and I wouldn't give me right arm for it or nothing like that, but...
Well, you wouldn't be able to hold the flag for a start. Would you?
That's right.
But, as a tricky one, I think that it should be left to the individual, like all our choices, really, and there should be a system that we go through if that's what the choice is. I'm not going to say it's easy for the person that makes that choice, because it's not, but it's more difficult for the people around them, the family and friends that have to go along with it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because they want you to live forever.
Oh, God, yeah. And you, in a way, I suppose you want to live forever for them, because, especially for my Linny and the kids and that, it's not a thing like you owe it to them, but, Linny has been so good throughout all my, illness. So I certainly wouldn't want to give up, for her. So
No.
Other people have been helpful in other ways. I mean, you've been brilliant. I didn't realise, I knew you were a good friend, but I didn't realise what a good friend you were until I had all this. So it's been great doing just these podcasts and that.
Yeah. you always think, or I always think that, you'd like to be able to help others if that happens to them, and you'd hope that somebody was the same to you if that happened to you.
Well, that's right. Well, you do. I mean, you help you drive your, or used to drive your other friend Peter to hospital and all that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And, so there are, good people out there. That's nice.
Well, I think the main thing I've found out is that, and I was guilty of being one of them, that you're a taker in this world. You take so much out of it, but you put very little back.
Mm.
You only because you're living your life and you're taking that for granted and you're living every day. But you do take everything, and sometimes that pays to put a little bit back, because you get so much satisfaction out of that as well.
Yeah.
Helping others and seeing them improve. And
look at you with you're doing also the DFID things as well now, aren't you? You're helping with all that, and
strange that you've got to have a critical illness or a major trauma in your life to push you in that direction, really, because I mean all these fundraising things are going on all the time.
Yeah.
And you'll give a few quid here and a few quid there and support them, but you never think of actually getting involved.
And you're doing the Race for Life for me as well, aren't you?
Yes, the Race for Life, that should be a laugh.
I'll be there at the finishing line to cheer you on.
How quick I'll be. Yeah, well, I should get there about
midnight.
Midnight, yeah.
Yeah, just call me when I need to get to the finishing line. Give me half an hour.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the quickest round, that's for sure.
No.
But I mean, that's another fundraising event, and you don't realise. I mean, this new drug that you're on that has changed your life. All the fundraising and events that have gone on before has helped scientists develop this new drug, and without funding and support, this would never happen.
Well, I had a call from a guy the other day because I get calls from various people and things like that, and some of them are not interesting, and some of them are trying to sell me something and whatever, like most people. This call was very interesting because I've been asked to be the story for the Race for Life for Bury Snippens, and we've had our pictures taken and as the sort of the faces of it, haven't we?
Yeah.
And this bloke, from being in around Bury Snippens, the story, he now wants to put it east of England and all over the country.
Right. Yeah.
So he says he can do these things, but he said that you don't necessarily do things to help people until you know someone who's ill
in that position.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? I haven't got a joke of the week. Oh, what on earth is Hazel Wood going to do?
She's probably going to listen to the whole podcast this week. She's not going to turn off at the joke of the week like she normally does.
Possible, yeah, possible. And I think we ought to have a big shout out to Norman Hume as well. He listens every week, doesn't he?
Yep. So, hello, Norman. How you doing?
Yeah,
I remember playing golf with Norman at one of our golf days.
Oh, right.
And I don't know whether I can repeat what he said, really.
We'll keep it clean. Sorry.
He hit this ball and scuffed it. Well,
Norman scuffed the shot.
My son was playing with me, and he reminds me of that every time I see him and we mention golf. He said, "Oh, do you remember that time Norman scuffed that shot?" What he said? He said, "Oh, Norman, you dickhead." Sorry about that, but that's what he said to himself out loud. And I'll never forget that. It was a funny moment. And Simon always reminds me of that, how funny that was. And he was only a mere teenager at the time.
Yeah.
So he wasn't used to building site talk, shall we say.
Those were the days, when we could play golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, could we play? I could never play golf, really.
Well,
I just turned up and
that's right, yeah.
hit the ball down this piece of grass.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're off to Chelmsford today to record for Radio Essex.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about different celebrities and different things coming up on the podcast.
Yes.
We can't give everything away,
We can't give them all away because we haven't actually got dates penciled in, but we've got a few now, haven't we?
We've got a couple of celebs.
Jimmy Tarbuck signed up.
Yeah, and Cheryl Baker.
From Bucks Fizz.
Yeah, we've got her signed up.
I see they're doing a tour at the moment.
The Bucks Fizz?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're just called the Fizz now.
The Fizz, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's only the three of them, isn't there?
Well, I've been to see them as the three, and they were very good.
Did you put your Tom and Dick sweatshirt in the car?
Yeah.
Oh.
So by my feet here.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Why?
I'm sweating like a pig.
Oh, right. Just go fly. Yeah, I'm in a
Polo shirt?
polo shirt. That's it.
Yeah.
And you're in that big, thick thing.
I'm sweating like a pig over here.
We need to get some polo shirts with the design on.
The trouble is I can't put the air conditioning on full because we'll get this fan noise bursting away.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to put it on in a minute just to cool the car down because we've got Benny in the back.
Yes.
Who's our biggest fan.
Yeah, our mascot. He's been at quite a few recordings, actually.
Yes, yeah.
So,
yeah, and he's struggling in the back. I think we better try and take him into the studio, don't you? 'Cause
yeah.
He's sweating in the back, panting in the back there. So
no, he pants anyway.
I'm sure there'll be somebody in there that will look after him if we can't take him into the actual recording room.
So, but yes, we will look after him, certainly. Bless him.
Yes, Benny is our real #1 fan. Guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We called it Cardiac Karaoke. And we'll be back next week. So stay safe, have fun, and thanks for listening. Bye.